Hi everyone, good afternoon. This is Kenneth Muyingo and I'm connecting with you from my home here in Leiden. I hope all is well and that life is good with you and your loved ones. It's a pleasure for me to be able to do this and to bring this broadcast to you. I was just doing a test and I'm going to be having a guest with me in the studio, and actually, she's already in the waiting room. And without wasting any more time, I'm going to bring her on, and then we are going to get into the conversation. And let us know where you're connecting from in the comment section. We already have people on from just a moment. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Kenneth. Hello, how are
Good-
you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for being available to do this. And I was just mentioning that we already have some people on YouTube saying good afternoon. I'm happy to be part of this program today. Let us know where you're connecting from. If you have a comment, let's keep this engaging. We really want to hear from you. We don't want to be talking to ourselves. And maybe just briefly, Samantha, say hello to our viewers and listeners, and then we get into this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Samantha Zerah. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm excited for what we're going to speak about with Kenneth. So, our listeners, our viewers, please comment, share your questions if you have any. Like our video and tell us anything that you want to know. And let's keep it interactive, indeed, as Kenneth has said. And I'm happy to be here and to speak to us. Thank you.
Very well. And we are going to be talking about a topic that I think is very interesting for many people because there's a conversation that many people don't talk about. But I think it's important that we start with a disclaimer before we begin the conversation on understanding neurodivergent children. We would like to just give a brief disclaimer. Please note that we are neither me or my guest, we are not medical professionals or licensed therapists, psychologists, or medical experts. The information, the experiences, the perspectives that we are going to be sharing on this are intended purely for educational, inspirational, and for just to share a perspective to a parent, from a parent to a parent, to caregivers, and to anyone who is interested in learning more about neurodivergent children. This podcast should not be considered as medical advice or a diagnosis or treatment. So every child is unique, and this is what I want us to understand. So we encourage our listeners to seek guidance from qualified healthcare professionals or specialists regarding any medical, developmental, or behavioral or mental health concerns that relate to their children. And our goal today is simply to create awareness, to encourage understanding, and to foster a supportive conversation around neurodiversity. And thank you so much for tuning in wherever you're tuning from, for joining us. And we hope this conversation brings insight into your journey or the journey of your loved ones. We see there's already some people. Edward says hello. Let us know where you're connecting from. I am in my home here in Leiden. And maybe Samantha can also tell us where she is connecting from.
Yeah, I'm also connecting from my home here in Amsterdam.
Amazing. That's the beauty of the global world. We are in the digital space and we are live
Yeah.
in studio actually.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, indeed.
all right. So this is getting really exciting already. And just to start this off, while
Yeah,
the comments and engagement keeps coming in,
yeah.
I just want to bring this back to you, Samantha. Just to start off, could you just paint for us a brief picture about your world when you first arrived in the Netherlands from Uganda?
Um, so I've been living in the Netherlands for a very long time, about now 17 years. So I came to the Netherlands when I was 15 years old. So now that is a world of a teenager,
Yeah.
And I was living in Uganda with my grandmother. So me coming to the Netherlands, initially I was told I was coming on holiday. So I'm thinking I'm coming for holiday and then I'll go back to Uganda, just they're going to be here for a while. Yes, the shock of the day was on me. So I come and then my mom was like, yes, you're going to stay. So that was something very...
So it's like if they had told you that you were not going back to Uganda, you wouldn't have left.
No,
Wow.
no, 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 no. But then again, I think it comes down to the under, because I've been thinking about that as well. It comes down to the kind of environment someone grows up in. I grew up in a very loving environment with my grandmother. I was content. So when you grow up in such an environment, nowhere else is beautiful but there. So
Indeed.
yes, so indeed. So when I come and I'm told, I'm going to stay in Holland, I'm like, what? No, my friends, I didn't say bye to my friends. I didn't say bye to my grandmother, So
Yeah.
there was so many emotions. Hence
Yeah.
why the Netherlands is, my relationship with Holland is a love and hate relationship.
Yeah.
Yes, so we always like that. I do love it, but I'm also like, I didn't choose you. So, to, yes,
And now here we are 17 years later.
17 years later. Yeah, so that, yeah.
Wow. So this love and hate relationship must be going pretty well. It's but we'll get into this. But I mean, just thinking back on this journey, I mean, 17 years. You left Uganda when you were 15, and
Yeah,
then 17 years later, and along the journey, you became a mother in the
yeah,
Netherlands.
yeah,
I want us to dive into that a bit.
yeah.
And what were your hopes as you transitioned into becoming a first-time mother in this new country of the Netherlands?
Uh, to be honest, frankly speaking, I did not really think of motherhood. Many girls, I think it is known, and I think maybe it's true. Many girls aspire to be mothers, but I think
Yeah,
for me, from a very young age, when they would ask me what is my dream was to become the speaker of Uganda. So motherhood was not really ever there on those lists. So I never really thought of it. So I
yeah,
knew I was pregnant, I was expecting a child, but I was not really thinking that, oh, the childhood dream is coming true. No, I just knew
yeah.
it is something to get, to just go with that, just to do, just along. So I did not really think deep about motherhood. Yeah.
And the dream of being a speaker is still alive. I can tell. It's
Yeah.
So wow, but thank you for sharing this. It's I mean, for most people, that's they go through this journey, and somebody told me nothing prepares you
Yeah,
for.
and that is true. Nothing, yeah, and that is true. And mostly now, because I am a one time, I'm only a mother to one kid. My sister
Yeah,
has two children. So sometimes I ask her, how does it feel to be a mother second time? She told me it's different. Sharing the love and a different personalities with the kids. It's different because the first time maybe it's more of a try, and now the second time you're seasoned, you're experienced. So
yeah,
my perspective is I'm still only a first time mom. I'm only having what I've done with Nathaniel. I cannot
yeah,
compare it to any other, because it's only him that I have. And it's only
yeah,
him that it's only this thing that I have with him.
yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. This is good. So I mean, every first-time mother, I understand what you're talking about, having another child, but I think the most of the whirlwind of emotions comes in with the first being the first-time mother. And when you think back on that experience for yourself, what was that early phase of motherhood like before you noticed any developmental differences?
Yeah. And now that is where the interesting part comes in.
Yeah,
So now my whole family knew that I was not, because I never. So whenever people would have children, I was never the kind of girl that would give me that baby, let me carry the baby. So they really never saw it. Yet when I became a mother to Nathaniel, it was like as if I knew what I was doing. like as if I knew to be a mother. So the feeling that I had the first time I held Nathaniel, it's like we were in our own bubble, in our own life, only me and him. It was beautiful. And again, it was I never saw anything different because it was the only one that I know. Maybe later on we'll speak about it. His delayed milestones were told of me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. It's really, I'm really loving what's going on in the comment section, and I'll be bringing some of those comments in a bit. But
Yeah.
this is please keep them coming. Let us know where you're connecting from. I'm really liking it. I'm seeing everything that's coming in. So thinking back on this, for you, everything was normal.
Yeah.
And you didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
When did you first get the sense of my son my son is developing differently?
Yeah.
And what were the specific behaviors or milestones that brought this to your attention?
Yeah. Again, as I mentioned earlier on, it was brought to my attention,
Tell us about that.
Yes. So I remember at that time when it happened, the first time, is that I picked him up from daycare. I think by then he was about 3 years old or 2.5.
Yeah.
And then I pick him up, and I was having this conversation with one of the, the teachers at the daycare, And then she was telling me how Nathaniel's day had gone. She was telling me something, and then I was like, no, but not maybe, no, maybe he was just hungry. And then she bluntly tells me, no, like she speaks it in Dutch.
Yeah.
She says in Dutch, that nay, it's Miss Kind, blah 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 blah. She speaks so many things, and I'm like, what? What are you saying? What do you mean? And I'm like, you have no right to tell me that, first of all, because you are not only are you not Nathaniel's mentor, you are also not the boss of the creche. So you
Cool.
cannot do this. And then it was Friday. So I said, Monday, I have to speak to your boss about what you told me. Because even though perhaps it's true, because later on I realized that maybe they all saw something, the way she brought it up was bad, was different. So then I told the boss, we spoke about it. She was indeed fired for not being professional on communicating something to a parent. She was fired, and then indeed now we went through the process of speaking with the teachers, looking now, how do we help Nathaniel to keep him in that space where he is, but still make sure that he feels allowed, appreciated, and get the attention he wants, Now, so now we're trying to find ways of how to make him feel welcome and everything, and they're telling me all these things, and now, so that is how it typically, that is how I found out that perhaps there is a milestone Nathaniel is not having that other kids were having.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I can just imagine that, how that just, you just went to pick your child from the creche and then they're just dropping something like that on you.
Actually, when that happened, I didn't even tell anybody, not my sister, not my mother. I just kept it to myself because it was also more of like, what is she even saying?
Yeah.
Because when a child is 2 and coming from our background, what do I have to talk with a 2-year-old? Does the 2-year-old have to talk to me? No, they are receiving. So you see, they're sleeping well, they are eating well. There is nothing that is keeping you awake for you to feel like there is something, So I just took it and just let it there. But indeed, I kept a mental note because now they were not threatening, they were saying we can no longer provide the right care or place for Nathaniel. We have to look for somewhere else for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. So, before we dive deeper into this and your personal story, maybe our viewers, there's someone maybe on who's watching and they may just want to understand, how do you define neurodivergency and what does that mean in the context of you and your son?
Okay, so neurodivergent means that this is when someone's brain learns, develops, but also processes information differently from what is considered neurotypical.
Yeah,
that is the definition of it. And for me personally, what it means to me and Nathaniel, it's not that much. Because again, for me, the concept of the way I mother or the way I understand is that indeed we are unique.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes also the definitions of things actually, in a way, confirm the narrative of the situation. Yet again, it is refusing to acknowledge it, because if we say we are all unique, then why do you expect everyone to learn and process information the same way? But then
Yeah.
again, maybe later on we will speak more to that and explain what exactly I mean. And that is a perspective I've always had, and that's the understanding I have. So indeed, for me, I'm like, yes, if he processes things differently and a particular thing, so then let me as his mother understand how he's processing that and what is that different thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then, so it's all about their brain processing information and what they experience in a different way.
Yes, but then it is not static as it sometimes comes off,
Yeah.
because some of these things can also be learned. Some of
Yeah.
these things can also just be a moment, because you see milestones are also differently. Perhaps when Nathaniel was 3, 4, 5, he processed things differently, and now that he's 9, it's indeed not really differently. Maybe now that when you put him to a neurotypical child, you still do not understand. No,
Yeah.
when you put him to a neurotypical child, you cannot see that there is a difference.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so I think we also have to understand what to pick and what to understand. And are we choosing to really stay in the definition, or are we trying to know a thing and still allow ourselves to divert and have all the different kind of understanding within that thing? Because
Yeah.
when it comes to what they mean in that sense, it's just that, okay, let me give an example. What
Yes.
was really visible with Nathaniel when he was now back then, when he was 3 years old, was that his speech was late.
Yeah.
So indeed, I could then say, indeed, he had a speech delay, you know. But
Yeah.
now the issue is then because now he's 9 years old, he's now talking. So
Yeah.
now he has spoken, he's speaking. So now my question is, are we still going to put him in that box? So the flexibility and the understanding of what are we picking, what are we keeping, but also what are we understanding? Because if it was a speech delay, then we
Yeah.
can get a speech therapist. That's
Exactly.
prayer. Because if it is speech, indeed, that was also my issue, because they were telling me, to going back the crash, they were telling me that he's not really expressing what he wants. And they have almost 25, 30 children. And
Yeah.
they are all many kids, and I do understand, because sometimes I think for me that's the beauty of it. Like I understood, I like to put myself in someone else's shoes. If I
Yeah.
am working in a daycare, there are 30 kids. There is one child who cannot express and say, I want a cookie,
Yeah.
or I want to sleep, or I'm tired, and there are 30 children. Sincerely speaking, they are going to also cost them extra work. So let us find somewhere where they go, where the caretakers are only having 4, 5 kids, that they can also focus on them. So that speech for me
Yeah.
was already a note for me to be like, okay, where can I take him? Then
Yeah.
I started to be like, okay, where can I take him? Let me take him somewhere else. And
Yeah.
then he gets that extra attention which he needs, so that when he's hungry, he can get something to eat. Because then I was also still a student. I was doing my bachelor's.
Yeah.
I put him somewhere and I had to go and do other things.
And then,
So I also wanted to make it easy for the caretakers, but
yeah.
also for Nathaniel, that he's not away for so long. When he's hungry, he can't say, I want to eat. So now
Yeah.
let there be an expert who knows that, oh, they want to eat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. So going back in there to that experience after the crash,
Yeah.
uh, maybe you could just take us through a bit of what happens. What was the actual evaluation process like for you here in the Netherlands?
Yeah.
When after that initial conversation, you don't talk to anyone about it, but something must have happened.
Yeah. So after that initial conversation, now for me, they tell me that, and then because they were really very beautiful people, very good people. They were like, no, we can keep Nathaniel. We can get someone extra to come and maybe be with Nathaniel, help him within the setting of the daycare. But then for me, I was like, no, because I already felt like for the other woman who told me that thing, I'm like, no, maybe you don't even want my child. I don't want my kid to be brought here and then he feels unwanted when I am also not around. As a mother, you want to leave your child somewhere with people who you feel like when you go away, they love him, then you are also settled.
Indeed.
So I already immediately began to look for solutions. I found a place, it's called Hebrata House, where they put like kids go there and they're maybe like they're 6 or 7 in the class, and then that's where they are all psychologists, therapists, child and parent advisors, speech therapists, and social workers, just trying to see exactly what is indeed that milestone that Nathaniel is delaying in. What is that specific one, So while he was there, I would then go to school. By the way, I also told my teacher about what was happening in my private life, so that if I have to pick Nathaniel up early, they know. Teacher was like, no problem. As long as you come to school, you do your work, you can always leave and come when you want. And then, so for me, I was like, Nathaniel has somewhere to go. I have somewhere to go. It's fine. We are looking for a solution. I am solution oriented. So I didn't take it in and like, it is the end of the world. Because for me, what was important for me, I was like, I told God, if I can still do my school, everything else will manage to do it. So that was my goal, to make sure he's somewhere, I am somewhere, we are moving.
And then,
yeah.
Wow, this is good. And so you told us about how you process this for yourself and what happens. So after this interaction, you set up the arrangement with the Kabata House, and you're still doing your school.
Mm-hmm.
You are a first-time mother, school, and having to deal with all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just thinking about school alone, some people just have school, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
Now you have a son who's there. You're still in school, but you did it all. I just don't want to take this for granted. I want to take this moment actually and acknowledge you for the work that you've done.
Thank you.
Because for some people, when they go through something like this, they're either going to have to make a decision, either to forget about school or to forget about their child. But you did both, and gracefully and beautifully. So thank you for doing the work, for allowing yourself to be a vessel as far as what God wants to do in the life of Nathaniel this season, and also in your life, and just being able to be available to be here to share this journey with us. And I know you're a woman of faith, and I have no doubt that your faith played a major part as far as this is concerned. Just thinking about this, moving into a new country just as it is hard enough. Now you're navigating a diagnosis. You're having to do school. What role did faith play in all of this?
Thank you very much. Maybe before we speak about what role faith played, so then a bit of so the Kabbalah house was 6 months. So then after 6 months, the woman, now they're giving me the diagnosis.
Okay.
Yes. So now she calls me. I remember I was at home with Nathaniel. She calls me, and then hi Samantha, can you talk? I'm like, yes, I can speak. As a psychiatrist, and then she tells me on the phone. She told me we have analyzed Nathaniel, and yes, she tells me, we think. She tells me, and these are the results. Nathaniel will never be able to speak, will never be able to talk, will never be able to do anything. Literally anything that any normal child can do. We don't see any progress. And then she tells me, she gives me everything, and I'm listening on the phone. She tells me everything, and I'm listening. And then she tells me, so how does this make you feel, and what do you have to say about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes when you just speak things, you don't know even knowing what you're saying. I listened to her, and then I was like, and then I told her, thank you very much. I told her, thank you very much for your information. I really appreciate your expertise. I really appreciate what you've done. Thank you very much that you've spoken. And then I said, but me, as Nathaniel's mother, I know he will talk. I know he will do everything he has to do. I know it will be fine. And then the woman tells me, oh, really? How do you know that? I said, I don't know. I just know he will. I said, oh, okay. So they told me, okay, that is very good. Keep that up. But I don't want to disappoint you, even if it doesn't. I said, it's okay. But I understand what you're saying, but I'm also telling you what I know as the mother. And then, okay, thank you. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. And then I go off the phone. Now, then I call my sister. And that was the moment where now I cry.
When you called your sister, so you until this point you had not told her anything.
I know, I did not. Nobody until this point.
And you two are really close.
Yes. Because also with me it was, before he went to those 6 months evaluation, I was just thinking maybe for me what I'm thinking maybe what they will say is just speech delay. Not they're going to give me a whole diagnosis that is going to as if throw you off the road, So and I was like, so and we would speak every day. So then now I tell her, oh, I just got a phone call from Nathaniel where he is by the Kabata house, that new place where I'm taking him, and they told me all these things, and I was just crying and bawling and crying, and then she tells me, it's okay, don't cry. It will be fine. Nathaniel will be very fine. It's okay. And then she tells me something that stayed with me. Then she said, she said, everyone. She said that she told me everyone. I don't even think she remembers this. She said that we are all dealing with one thing or another. It's just that some people's issues are visible. Now that was my case because now the visibility of it was Nathaniel was not talking. Like it could be that maybe some other mother is dealing with, maybe the kid is not sleeping at night, but sometimes you cannot see it, because unless someone has said. Now my own was so visible that even someone can tell you about it. You see it, So when she said that, I was like, okay, we left it, we even forgot about it, and it just stayed between me and her. Not that it was a secret, but it was more like we're not gonna dwell on it. For us, we know everything is normal, and we treated Nathaniel normal. We just went on with our life. Now going to the faith part, without God, without my faith, I would not have stood. Because I remember one thing I also told God. I told God, if I am only able to finish my school. Now you have to know by then I was doing my bachelor's, but I like to read and I like to read statistics. And they always say that the statistics of a young mother, a woman who becomes a mother while they are pursuing something, they never pursue it, they never complete it. 80% of single mothers, 80% of women who become mothers before achieving a certain goal never achieve it. So I didn't want to be a statistic. I was like, no, Nathaniel. I was like, no, I will not do it. And then, so now with that mindset, I did not blame the boy because he did not do anything. I am now the grown up. I'm the mother. So I just made sure that every time, maybe if you woke up early because the early bird, I just took it on. Like I also wake up, even if I slept at 3 a.m. in the night, 8 a.m. in the night when I'm working on my work, I just embraced him. I just woke up and I made sure I was doing my work. And that's the funny thing that no, I did not fail not one exam, Kenneth. The first year of HBO, it's called Pepperdise. You get the first diploma of HBO before you continue to finish your HBO. You get the Pepperdise within that 1 year. I was among the 10.
Wow.
The 10.
Wow.
Who got it. So God was an anchor. And then I went back. Because I went back, I was telling God, you did not give Nathaniel a mouth not to speak. I looked at the story of Edward of Moses in Exodus. I also remembered individual responsibility, because then some people were saying, yeah, your child is because all these things, and then I remembered individual responsibility. Nathaniel has done nothing wrong, so he's
Yeah.
not paying any sense of anybody. It
Yeah.
is individual responsibility. So I took him as him, and I believed it, and I knew that there was a plan for him. And if it is a speech, because that was what was the problem, speeching. For me, that's it's what I kept.
Yeah.
The rest of the diagnosis, I refused it.
Yeah.
Because when you look at what they are trying to tell you in whatever they are diagnosing,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you are not strong in heart, you can
Yeah.
faint.
Yeah.
So all the rest, I refused it. What I took was, okay, he's now having a speech delay. And I, God, you gave him this mouth. He will
speak.
speak. Yes,
Yeah.
he will speak. He has a mouth, he will speak. He has ears, he will hear. But I still took him where I knew it was a small setting. I did not then be like, because I have faith, so now let me take my kid to a creche where there are 30 kids.
Yeah.
I still took him to a creche where there were 7 or 8 kids.
Yeah.
Because it was necessary for him to know that at least where he is, it's peaceful.
Indeed.
Yes.
Wow. Amazing. So Sarah K 6302 says, to my understanding, I think every child grows differently. And because this country wants to rush kids in speaking as early as 1 year old, this is the pressure they put on our kids and us as parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. I do agree with what you're saying, indeed.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah K, for that. And moving on to, you hinted on it a bit, culturally.
Yeah.
All cultural views on neurodivergency vary drastically between East Africa or Uganda, where we come from, and Western Europe. How did you deal with the opinions, the unsolicited advice, or even the subtle stigma of friends, family, and the broader community when it came to this?
So firstly, the opinions of others, as I said from the beginning, I do not take what others say too deep in me. For example, someone is saying, oh, this. I'm like, no, what you're saying does not fit my narrative, because it is me who knows, and I am his mother.
Yeah.
I took that fast, that I know what I am doing, and also I took it back to God, that He is the one that knows Nathaniel, and I am his mother, and I know my child. So whatever you're saying, oh, this is wrong, no, it is not true, because it is not you who is parenting the child.
Yeah.
I refused any advice, any opinion, anything that did not give me peace in my heart.
Yeah.
And when it came to family and friends, personally, myself, as myself, Samantha, I stutter, and I stutter too much usually in Luganda, So, but growing up from a very young age, I have never been I've never been stigmatized by it, by my family or my friends, Even
Yeah.
till when I'm talking to my mom and I'm stuttering, she's just looking at me and she's just waiting.
Yeah.
She's gonna speak. So I have never been seen differently or
Yeah.
thought of differently, to feel like, oh, I don't belong, oh, there's something wrong with me. And then see, it is then me who the starter, who actually is always in the public spaces.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how God works, I am the one who started when I speak Luganda, but it's me who is everywhere talking here. It's me who wants to be the speaker, So yeah, so I never felt not wanted. It's the same thing we took with Nathaniel. To
Yeah.
us, he is just Natty. We're not
Yeah.
trying to hold him, putting him in some special place, maybe not rebuking him. I even remember, like, recently, I think was it last year or a few weeks ago, so
Yeah.
Nathaniel has begun this new thing where he gets a laptop and a computer, and he's coding. It's like as if he's coding things on the
Yeah.
laptop and the computer. So he
Yeah.
had a computer, he had a laptop, and then
Yeah.
my niece wanted one item. And Nathaniel didn't want to give, and then and then my mom's like, oh no, leave him, he's coordinating his stuff, and then my auntie then says, no, he's allowed to share, he can share, let him give the other two to the sister, and you say, for me, that is how it is, because we are not trying to babysit him, to be like, oh, no, 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 no. You are going to learn how to share. You can give this, and then you give the other one the other thing, and there is nothing wrong with that. And the opinions of the broader community, that's where the issues always came in, that you would hear, but it's always via. You would hear somebody has said, oh, Nathaniel's, oh, Summer's child is this because of this person, because of this, or then they give you very crazy advices that take him to this person, let a person do this. But for me, from the ground, my root, I'm a Christian woman. And as I said earlier on, is individual responsibilities. I do, and even that verse is very good because it says that God says, what is this I am hearing that you people are saying? That the parents have made the mistake and now the children are reaping the sour grapes of it. And then God says, the one who sins is the one who dies. But then the people themselves were like, no, let the kids pay the sins of the parents. So God's like, no, the one who sins is the one who will die. So that is what I had in mind. In fact, and even it says, I will bless those that love me for generations to come. So then I was like, me, I love God. Then am I getting a curse of somebody I don't even know? I was like, no, that one I refused. I was so adamant on it. I refused it and I refused it because words do have power. Had I accepted that narrative, it would have taken me in so many different angles.
Indeed. Wow, this is good. This is good. Thank you for sharing this. And Sarah K says, my son Iman had a speech delay and they put a lot of pressure on me. I used to tell them to give my child enough time, that he would eventually speak. And when he turned 4 years old, they denied him school.
Yeah.
Wow. And then she says, when he turned 5, wow, he became a kasuko, as in over talking. Now he gained his school like any other child.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, maybe add on to that because Sarake is a very good friend of mine. And not to say thank goodness, but for me it was also a bit of a good thing that because Nathaniel is older than Iman. So Nathaniel is now 9. Iman, I think, is 2 years or 3 years younger, And by then Nathaniel was the only one, and not the only one, but I was the only one who was vocal about what was happening. Because I remember one time I called my mom and I told Mom, so you mean there is nobody in this whole community who has ever had a child who spoke late? There is nobody. Like, what is going on? Where do you look for help? There is nobody. There is nothing, So now later on, years went by, then you hear you hear this kid, that kid, So then I like to ask, okay, so all those kids, is there like, are they paying some kind of sin for something, Now my son goes to school. And in school you meet, he's going to a normal school, So now at his normal school, are all those kids white kids, Indian, all different nationalities, are all those kids under some kind of witchcraft, No. So we also need to understand, like, because when you stay in a focused narrative, you are going to focus in wrong things and forget that many great people sometimes begin like that. But then also to have the opportunity and the community of where you're not embarrassed of a thing. Because I remember I used to tell my sister, I'm going to say it in Luganda, so I am going to go and look for help. If it means that I'm going to read books, if it means that I'm going to take Nathaniel in a place where there are only 6 kids, for now, I will take him. Because even me, I have goals I want to achieve. So me keeping him at home, because I don't want people to talk, You know, it is destroying my future as well. Another thing was that issue of the school bus in the community. You know, I think it's also one thing I want to touch on. Um, Sometimes the kids go like before now, like before he used to go in a school, they used to pick him up by a school bus, you know. But you see, those special centers or areas can be a center, sometimes it's a school. They are usually far from within the neighborhood. And in the Netherlands, they want kids to go within the neighborhood. So sometimes the school is maybe as far as Amsterdam North and you live in Amsterdam South. So they're just actually trying to help you to give you transportation so that your kid can be on time.
Yeah.
People will be like, again, I'm a bus. Like, you understand why. If you understand the thing, it's not, nothing wrong with it. You know, even in Nathaniel's school where he goes, and these kids are talking and doing great things, you know, because now it's my neighborhood, I drop him. But indeed, other kids do come in buses, in taxis, because they live far. Yeah, and that is simply it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wow. This is good. And I mean, right here again, I want to thank you for your willingness to share this, because there's many people who would have gone through what you've gone through, and they don't have the courage or the willingness to come and share their truth. And you don't know how many people you're helping by being willing to share your journey, because there's, even in my own network, there's people who reach out to me and they're just asking, what do I do? What do I do with this? And just that you're willing to share and to just put a perspective on this, I don't take it lightly, because I know exactly what this means. And so thank you for being willing to share this and just to share your journey and where you have been. And just going back to some practical boundaries, maybe can you share with us about some practical boundaries that you set, or mindsets that you had to adopt to protect your peace and to focus on your son while you were navigating this?
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with school, motherhood, and then
one, like my faith, that was also a boundary, you know, and what I believe. And because, you know, one thing, it is one thing to believe or to be Christian or whatever faith other people that are watching us are. It is another thing to also educate yourself in it. So for me, I also knew the word. Like, you're not going to come and tell me a thing and I cannot find it in the book I have read. You know? So that is knowledge, because it says people are perishing because of lack of knowledge. Because if you know the truth, you know how to counter it. Secondly, I believed in Nathaniel. That is also a boundary and a mindset. For me, he can do anything. And this is also an understanding, is that when I say he can do anything, I'm not trying to make him like another person, you know? And that is also sometimes what happens now in the world we live in, you know? Education is now becoming a concept of outside in. But the Greek word of education is edukari. It means from within out. You know, from within, and you are molding a person from that very identity of who they are. I'm not trying to make him become what he's not. I am trying to see him in what he can be, him. You know, not comparing him to this kid, to that kid, to that kid, because no neurodivergent kid is even the same. Just like no neurotypical kid is the same.
Exactly.
You know? And lastly was the miserable comforters, as I like to call them. You know?
Say that again. Miserable comforters.
Yes, you know. Otherwise, by the way, that's in the Bible. Job, he calls them miserable comforters.
Go on.
Yeah, it is people who give you those kind. You know, like one thing about Africans, you know, we can literally sympathize someone to death. Oh, Bambi, oh, Banange, what are we going to do? Those kind of things are just draining. I'm like, no, what do you mean?
Get away from me.
Get away from me. Don't sympathize with me like that.
I don't want your sympathy.
No, I don't want your sympathy. You know, I have things to do. Because if I then sit down and be like, what am I going to do? How am I going? How am I going to finish the many assignments I have to do? How am I going? I can't. So I don't do any miserable comforting. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no. Any talk, and my friends know it. When we're on the phone and we are trying to talk about anything, I'm like, Baghouse, let me come back. Now they know she has left. She does not want to hear something that we are saying.
Yeah.
Because indeed it's more protecting your heart, because out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. That's where the boundary of your life is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 This is good. Yeah. They say misery loves company.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and some people they just want to sit there and just, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean it's powerful that you can take. And I think it's really important also that faith played a part, because if you don't have um, a strong faith background, because what I've understood is when things go wrong in life, people resort back to what they believe.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a strong spiritual foundation, and then you find yourself in a situation like this, then and you have nothing to hold on to, then you just find yourself sitting in the misery of
Yeah.
uh, miserable comforters.
Yeah. Because to be honest, it is the truth. Because now imagine a scenario where Nathaniel was not talking. What do you do? What do
Yeah,
you do? There are certain things that if it is writing, you can
yeah,
help the child and teach them how to write.
yeah,
But no, you cannot give him your words,
yeah.
force him to speak. What do you do but just believe?
Indeed.
No?
Actually, somebody was asking at what age did his speech start developing, as in starting to pronounce understandable words?
Okay. He did not like he did not that he did not speak. It was more that he said few words. Like there was a time where I think from 3 to 4 where he said I think like 5 words. Maybe
Yeah,
mama, sometimes he would say papa, maybe some just very few words. And
yeah,
here in Holland, Holland is such a systematic country that even speech is put in a category that
yeah,
by this age, a kid is supposed to say this amount of words.
yeah,
And when your kid is only saying 5, in the
yeah.
5,000, they're supposed to say by the age 4.
They say
Yes.
he doesn't speak.
Yes.
Yeah,
Indeed, and they're giving you their proof. And to be honest, now that uh, now years later, when you see a Dutch child, because those kids can talk, you see
yeah.
a child is so young and the kid is talking, and you're like,
Mm,
indeed. So when it comes to a thing like speech,
yeah,
seriously, what do you do? What do
yeah,
you do but just believe that they will talk
yeah.
and keep into that and not be telling the kid, yeah, where Toyogera. No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no. They will talk. They will talk. You
they
talk.
will talk.
But you speak to them as one who talks.
Yeah,
You speak to the child as one who talks.
most
And
definitely.
yeah. And you also put them in kids who talk.
Yeah,
Yeah, because some parents, what some parents do is that then these children who develop like this, mostly in Africa and with Africans, they then hide them.
yeah,
But then it's like I think there was a story on the news where there was a child who was thrown in monkeys, in the forest.
yeah,
Of course, the kid did like monkeys do or that animals do.
yeah,
If the child it is speech, you
yeah,
put them where people are talking. That is
yeah.
why maybe later on I'll give our listeners of places where you can take your children, because
Which
there's
place?
some places where the settings are like
Mm,
those kids don't talk. It's like
yeah,
as if they're having other issues.
yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. Wow, this is good. So now the dust has settled a bit from the
Yeah.
initial diagnosis. What was the first concrete action that you took to move forward in supporting your son?
Yeah. I'll still go back to faith.
Yeah,
Faith, prayer, and speaking words over him and believing, because those things were important to believe and to understand and to just even even the environment. I so this is a very good book.
yeah,
Yeah,
Switch on your
and
brain.
switch on your brain. She's
Yeah.
a she's a
We'll share the
scientist.
link to it when
Yes, she's a
we.
scientist,
Yeah.
but she's a scientist, but she's also a Christian scientist. You know, she speaks about all these things. She speaks and she says that sometimes she says even environment, it matters. The
Yeah.
environment a child is in. Nathaniel has grown up in a very loving and calming environment.
Yeah.
You know, those things impact him. But then also me as the parent, I am at peace and it impacts him because the
Okay.
kid feels what you're feeling. You
Yeah.
know, the kid really does feel what you're feeling. If it's anxiety, they will get it. But if it's peace, they will get it. Another thing, I also educated myself. You know, when
Yeah.
you go to these meetings with all these, as I've said, these experts, you know, Holland has a lot of expertism and they really reward expertism in this country.
Yeah.
So you can go to a meeting and everyone is speaking of a topic
Yeah.
and you don't know anything.
Huh.
I'm telling you, they will think for you from the beginning to end.
Yeah.
But what I took is for me when we go to these meetings, even till now, when I'm talking to Nathaniel's teachers, we are talking together. They're
Yeah.
not trying to tell me something about my child because I
Yeah.
have taken time to understand Nathaniel even beyond them. They
Yeah.
don't tell me anything I do not know about Nati. In fact, sometimes they can give me a thing and I refuse it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and now even them they say, "Wow, Samantha, you're doing a good job. Nathaniel is doing A, B, C, D. We know," and they speak with you as an equal, as a parent who knows what they are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 So Samake says my son was registered to those special schools with kids with Down syndrome. I refused because I know my son is more than they do. I know my son more than they do, and it's us, the parents, to stick to our decisions and to protect our children.
Yeah. Maybe
And
to supplement on that.
yes, please.
Indeed, there was a time where Nathaniel. This happened recently when this school year, you know. So this school year he was supposed to go to another school, a class, but indeed, you know, Holland is really pessimistic in a way. Like they're like, oh, it's more like it can't, you know. So they put him in this class that Nathaniel doesn't want to be in. And every time I take the boy to class, he will be crying, he will be acting out. He doesn't want, you know. And then he says he wants to go to the other youth. He always says he wants to go to youth Myoline and youth Mendy class. That's where he
Yeah.
wants to be. So after like there's some a month when they are coming back in spring, after autumn
Yeah.
vacancy. So then the teacher in the other class, youth Myoline, meets me and then she tells me, we see and we also know as teachers that Nathaniel does not want to be in this class is in.
Yeah.
But us as teachers, we cannot give it to the director
Yeah.
because it would seem like as if we are favoring Nati.
Yeah.
You as the parent, you are able to do it.
Yeah.
And indeed, because I was like, after that, I was like, you know what? I told the teachers, like, Nathaniel has been coming here for a month. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to be here anymore. Let
Yeah.
us allow him to go to the class he wants. You
Yeah.
know, and then they called me like, yeah, we don't do this all the time, but for this one time, I told the woman, okay, but it's okay, but let us take the boy to the class he wants. And
Yeah.
indeed, when he went to that class, it was a higher grade, higher class.
Yeah.
The boy performed better. And even last time when I went to the school report, they were
Yeah.
like, he has finished everything he's supposed to
Everything.
do. Yes, for the whole school year, he has finished it.
Wow.
You know, but you see, it goes back to also you as the parent
Yeah.
standing your ground and being like, no, I refuse what you're giving my child. They can do more.
Indeed.
Believe your child, they can do more. They
Most
literally can.
Wow. This is good. This is good. Thank you so very much. And you place a very massive emphasis on being present as a parent. What does being present really look like for you on a difficult and exhausting day?
I think now right now in our life is because now, you know, when you have practiced things constantly, right now it's easy. But maybe I'll give a perspective of when I was really busy going to school and all these things, you know. What I
Yeah.
would do is that if I knew that maybe the next day I have an exam or something, Nathaniel goes to bed like around 7. You put him to bed, and then I clean up and now do everything I'm supposed to be doing. But then I know everything that he does as well. And also, as I mentioned, if you woke up at 7, I'll not then tell him, go away from me, go away from me. No, I bring him in my bed. And I'm like, oh, you have woken up, come. Then we stay together. I'm like, man, he's going to sleep a bit. Then we are together. Then I treat him like as if his day is going on.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that it was my fault not to go to bed on time.
Yeah.
The boy.
So you don't make it his problem.
Oh, it's not his problem. He has slept from 7 to 7.
He's awake. Yeah.
He's awake. And for you, because you went to bed at 3 a.m. in the morning, it's not his problem. So don't then react to him.
Yeah.
You know? And then also just to know your kid. You know, these kids know that my parent knows me.
Yeah.
They know it. They feel it. Take time to learn your child, because you are the perfect vessel. You are the perfect parent for that child.
Yeah.
You know, but understand them individually and as a person. Because now, as I said about my sister, she has 2 kids now. She told me even the kids are not the same, even just by having your typical children.
Yeah.
Just understand, this one likes this one understands like this one, you know, just know the kid, and that is it. And engage with the kid. Talk to the kid and tell them stuff. You know, one thing, before I close, one thing about neurodivergent kids, they say they make you think.
Yeah.
You know, you have to think, you know.
Yeah, because they're here to solve world problems.
Amen. You know, Nathaniel likes to know his day.
Yeah.
You know, likes to know what he's doing, you know.
Yeah.
So now I tell him today, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, you know. And so listen to us, like, hey, hold on. So now, because I tell my kid everything is supposed to be done, and I treat him as if he's a grown-up.
Yeah.
So that is considered abnormal because it's given to neurodivergent children. So which means neurotypical children are actually even parented less.
Yeah.
So for them, it just, let's go. They don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You know? So no.
Yeah.
And those are solutions of ways which every kid takes in. But even in that, Nathaniel likes to be told the program of the whole day or the whole week. Still in there, sometimes I still will change it.
Yeah.
Deliberately for his sake.
Yeah.
Like I tell him, you're going to go here
disrupt his schedule a bit. Yeah.
I disrupt his schedule. And I tell him, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Yeah. I want him to know that the world is not aligned to what he wants. That sometimes things go wrong. And he will throw a tantrum like, nay, mama, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's okay. It's not going to happen. You know? Yeah. But we don't, because if you then align yourself to them, they will control you.
Yeah.
Just like any kid.
Yeah.
You are the boss. Like one time, Anthony was upset, you know, and then we get out of the house. And then he opens my car door. And then he closes so hard. And then I tell him, get out of the car, stand outside, enter and close my car door properly.
Yeah.
You know, just because you are upset, you know, I don't give you, it's not license for you to act otherwise, because the world is not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they do understand it. The only problem is, you know, kids, when they see that, they are special, they will use it against you. Then they'll be like, they don't tell me anything. I'm not disciplined. I am not, you know. Then they now become the parents to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you lose control.
Wow. This is good. This is good. It's very, very practical help. And
Nati, say hello.
Hi, Nati. Hello. Wow. So how crucial is it? Amazing. Thank you so much for that. How crucial is it for the parent to move past the initial shock and aggressively educate themselves about the specific challenges that the child faces?
You know, as I mentioned earlier on, is that I also do acknowledge that we are allowed to grieve. We are allowed to take things in.
Yeah.
Take it in,
Yeah.
grieve or cry or wonder, ask all the questions. Why me? Why has it happened? Ask all these questions. But
Yeah.
when you are done, don't stay there for so long. Dust
Yeah.
yourself off and then move on. And then find solutions, then find things you're supposed to do, So to pass beyond the initial diagnosis or whatever it is that I've given you, then
Yeah.
find things that are working. For example, for a very long time, Nathaniel liked to only eat three kinds of foods, I rotated then his dinner around those foods.
Yeah.
And indeed, like, as I like to say, like, if he wants to eat vegetables, if you will
Yeah.
not eat a carrot by the
Yeah.
hand, you blend it and then you cook it.
Yeah.
The issue is the carrot has been still eaten.
Yeah.
He still gets the nutrients. And
Yeah.
if maybe he doesn't like chicken, but he likes cheese, he's still getting the protein. Don't
Yeah.
be so fixed on what everyone is eating or everyone is doing. There are very many things that give the same nutrient. Be flexible, think out of the box, Don't be fixed in a thing. And sometimes some things also just let go,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how I did it. I just let go of many of the things. And I like to give back to also myself because we are together and we have kids in the same range. So
Yeah.
sometimes we went on vacation recently, and then me, I was packing cheese, all these things, and then she
Yeah.
told me, "Hey, you're packing all these things for Nathaniel." I'm like, "Yeah, he doesn't eat." You're like, you better let him eat anything.
Yeah.
So we reached the holiday,
Yeah.
and the boy, so his food, I bring the food, he doesn't like it anymore. And I'm like, now, God, let's see what he will eat.
Yeah.
One, it's one of those days, he picks up spaghetti.
Yeah.
He used to eat. So also to just allow yourself to also be free in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we are so focused in controlling the narrative, we
Yeah.
don't leave room for anything to work as it ought to be. We fix ourselves, we think we're going to solve all the solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Charles Chalmers, I think it's Chelsea,
Mm.
says the system is really good, but somehow banned when it gets to single moms, worse when it's even an immigrant, say refugees. They tend to assume that immigrants, refugees didn't grow up with love based, uh, s- I think, continuing stories they hear. The system profiles immigrants. I just don't know when they can stop. Kids are profiled based on their parents, and that's wrong. Then she goes on to say children are different and unique because every mind is wired differently. Not two children respond to the exact same environment, teaching style or routine in the same.
That is
Totally agree. And thank you so much for sharing that. It's a very useful addition to the conversation. Um, Moving on to how crucial is it for the parent? I mean, we've looked at this, but we often hear talk about you as the parent having to be the strongest support pillar for the child. Why is it vital that you are the bedrock of their support before looking at outside experts and professionals and all of that?
because, again, as I mentioned, you as the mother of the child, nobody knows your child but you.
Yeah.
You do understand your child. You know your child. It is given to you to know your child.
Yeah.
So if you have that confidence, the problem is that sometimes we live in a world where fear sometimes takes over. Then
Yeah.
you yuck, then you're like, oh my God, am I going to do? I can't do this. I need help. I need help. I need help. I need help. It is good indeed to ask for help. But even as much as you're asking for help, believe that you know your child. Because at the end of the day, your child only needs you. When they have you, then the other people are supposed to come in. Even in the understanding of God, God never gave the understanding, the mandate of teaching to the teachers,
Yeah. It's the part.
primarily to the parents. You know,
Yeah.
that's why it says train up a child in the way they should go. That understanding in the Greek word is train up that child, those individuals in the way that particular child in their way. That when
Yeah.
they grow up, they will not go away
The
from it. Because
transformation.
sometimes we are seeing, maybe you see this child and they are scientists, you know, and then maybe yours is an IT, you know,
Yeah.
and now you're copying the scientist kid to bring them to the IT. No,
Yeah.
know that child, know your child, and then train that one. And then
Yeah.
when you go out to the teachers, to the therapists, to the experts, you know, you are
Yeah.
a parent who knows. And people, I'm telling you, they sense these things. People know when you know that you know about your child,
Yeah.
you know. So then the relationship with all these other external thing advantages, it comes from a sense of we are partnering with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. And you earlier hinted on the words that we speak. I just want to lean in a bit on that
Yeah.
because words have immense weight.
Yeah.
And can we just maybe can you tell us a bit about the power of the words that we choose to speak over our children, most especially when society and the system may have viewed them through the lens of limitation?
Yeah. 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 You know, I think we need to understand that the world we live in is a dog eat dog culture. You know, the world is oriented in a way that there are people who are supposed to work for other people. There are people who are less than the other people. There are people who are not supposed to achieve anything. You know, that is the orientation of the world. However, it is not the original idea of God. For me, my perspective is always from God's perspective, you know. So
Yeah.
now everyone has an input on this earth. Nobody is here without anything that they can do, you know.
Yeah.
And we are not trying to become somebody we are not. We are
Yeah.
trying to become the best versions of our own selves. So for me, Nathaniel, it was really important because of the life that I want to live and what I want to do. And also with what they were trying to say, that he will never be able to speak, will never be able to, you know, all those limitations. So then as I used to tell him, even now, I tell him, I used to tell him, you are teachable, you are flexible, you are adaptable. Every day, every day, every day. Even now, he knows it. I said,
Yeah.
Nathaniel, you are teachable, you are flexible, you are adaptable.
Flexible.
Why
Adapt.
those things? Those things worked for me. You know,
Yeah.
you can also have what works for you. For me, I
Yeah.
want him to be teachable because it need proof that he can still learn because they said he cannot. The
Yeah.
flexibility comes in the fact because when they say he's on the spectrum, he
Yeah.
likes things to go the way they have to be.
Yeah.
No, the world is not going to fashion every day on Nathaniel's radar.
Yeah.
You know, today, like Holland, where today is raining, tomorrow is cold. No.
Yeah.
So that flexibility is important and adaptability was important because you have to adjust to what is happening. So those things were crucial for me because I was a mother back then. But these things have still helped me until now. And then I used to tell him, you are a miracle, you are a sign, you are a wonder, you are loved, you are seen. And you know, you tell him and you pump him with these things in his head. Actually, that is also it's also called epigenetics, you know.
Yeah.
So saying, what are you telling your child? You keep on speaking positively and then you rewire the mind because there are people who think so there are two thoughts of school. There are people who say that the brain is fixed,
Yeah.
and there are people who say that the brain can vary. You know, it is not fixed, not static. And those people who say the brain is fixed think that our brain is controlling us. But
Yeah.
I beg to differ because if my brain is part of my body, it cannot be controlling me.
Yeah.
My mind gives my body the information. So
Yeah.
if now my mind, where my thoughts, my intellect, my emotions are, if I
Yeah.
rewire it with good thoughts, then
Neuroplasticity.
yes, neuroplasticity, exactly, neuroplasticity. Then I am now invading the mind, the brain, to
Oh,
make it say or to do and to activate what it has to be. And now that is also what comes on, like now the IT people, there are people who do IT here. There are people like the hardware is the brain.
Yeah.
Software is the mind.
Is the mind.
Hardwares can be rewired with the software, unless some IT people say that if the hardware is dead, then it's finished.
Yeah.
Because indeed here you see the woman says people who are in comas, people learning disabilities. For me, it was always like, if I just see one person who can do it,
Yeah.
it's for
It's
me.
enough.
It's enough. It's
Yeah.
enough. Just
Yeah.
one. So that is what words have power. I don't speak anything negative. I'm telling you, if you know how I can pamper Nathaniel, my
Yeah.
friends know it. I
Yeah.
speak every beautiful, every great thing, everything,
Indeed.
but it's just giving him the confidence. And because it is true.
Yeah.
In him, he can
Yeah.
do everything in his path.
Oh,
Again,
yes.
I'm not trying to compare him or to change him to become somebody else. I'm trying to awaken what is in him.
Is in him,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Wow, this is good. And I think maybe this is maybe for some parents who are watching and listening, the power of the words we speak. As a parent, you have a very powerful role to play in the child's life. The world outside may be harsh and negative and critical of your child, but let your child know that you are their number one cheerleader,
Yeah.
that you are their strongest support system.
Yeah.
The words that you speak are life.
Yeah.
If you don't speak life over your child, then they're going to have to take whatever the world is going to speak over them, and it may not be to their advantage.
Yeah.
So indeed, thank you for sharing this. And moving on to the medical field, the education systems, they love to use labels:
Yeah.
autism, ADHD, SPD, etc. From your experience, how does this system of labeling impact a child, and how can a parent prevent a label from limiting their child's potential?
Yeah. Labels group, labels frame, labels limit. If I'm being labeled that I have a problem in socializing, then you take it that indeed I have a problem in socializing. If I'm
Yeah,
being labeled that I cannot do this, it is indeed good. Sometimes it is good to know an issue. Let me say, so one of those labels maybe like autism.
yeah,
Let me say it. It is good to maybe say, okay, maybe they're on the spectrum, and
yeah,
maybe they do have certain tendencies within that spectrum. But the
yeah,
spectrum is also big, and there are very many things. Why
yeah.
you, as a parent, have you chosen that in those many things, you have chosen to choose only the negative things of
The
it?
negative things. There are very many positive things
There
on
are
that
very
spectrum as
many,
well.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
There are very many positive things on that spectrum. In fact, even Elon Musk is on that spectrum.
yeah,
And now he says because of the way his mind thinks, he's able to imagine a life for us on Mars.
yeah.
Can you imagine?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah,
So labels are good in a way to understand, but if you stay fixed in that label, that this is me, and you don't want to change, because now even science itself has proven,
yeah,
that you can change, which means even what you have been labeled as, you cannot learn.
yeah,
Remember, the father of Queen Elizabeth was a stutter.
yeah,
That was speech issue. Now, if they could hire somebody to teach him how to speak, that was the label. You are a stutter.
yeah,
And then he was taught how to coordinate his speech, his mouth, how to speak and say all these things. So don't fixate yourself in the labels. Don't start saying, for example, like this thing, all boys like to jump,
yeah.
jumping, running, all these things. But then they will say kids on the spectrum like to be on a trampoline. Then I'm saying, what about normal boys? Don't they also be on the trampoline?
Exactly.
Yes. Why? And that is the problem sometimes with knowledge. That
Yeah,
sometimes it packs you up. You know so much, you get all this sophisticated, difficult, big grammar, then
yeah,
you think that that is it. and then you don't want to correct yourself in thinking differently, lest you say that you have failed. But that is actually proud.
Yeah.
You know, that is actually pride in it. Because now you don't want to understand that even a child who has dyslexia can still learn.
Yeah.
You know, because
Okay.
how can I say, yet I am the therapist or I am the psychologist? That means that all your years of learning, you said people on that who have dyslexia cannot learn properly. So now you're
It is
supposed
done differently.
you know, so
Yeah.
that is it. Labels should be dropped, and sometimes it's good to know what. Sometimes it's good to know. For example, like if maybe a child doesn't want to eat a certain thing, as I said, there are different things to eat. Don't force it, but don't also stay
Yeah.
within a label to limit yourself, because labels indeed do limit and they do isolate, even though they do create awareness.
Oh yes. Wow. This is good. Thank you so much. And I want us to take the frame, just tune it back a bit on parents. There's a parent watching us somewhere and they have these questions. From your experience, what advice would you give to a parent who's feeling overwhelmed or dictated to by doctors, teachers, or the system? They're telling them, do this, do this, do this, do this. What is it that you can share with them from your experience, knowing what you know?
Yeah. You are not alone.
Yeah.
You know, you are not alone, and it is okay to ask questions. It is really okay to ask a question like, but why me? Why my child?
Yeah.
You know, in I like, for me, what I always say is that ask all the questions, take all the pain and all the doubt, but don't take them in so much that you become bitter, or that
Yeah.
now you want to be, yeah, bitter or hateful, you know. So
Yeah.
ask, but then in your asking, look for solutions, you
Yeah.
know. And then when you see, because indeed now we are coming to a place in our life where coming to a place in our life where there's so much information, very beautiful information. It's really actually up to you to what you're going to choose,
Yeah.
you know. But now if you're a parent and you want to see the good of your child, or are you that parent who's like, my child cannot do anything good? First ask your child, but do you also believe your kid can do something great? If you do believe your kid can do something great, then indeed they will do something great, you know. And
Yeah.
then take it on, and then what learn from it, but also understand that no kid is the same. You can indeed see a thing happening in another child. Maybe they're doing well, they're speaking, they're doing this, but then don't piggyback on that only.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to also understand the uniqueness of your own child, you know, and know that time and chance happens to them all. Your
Oh, yeah.
child may begin less, may begin in a struggle, in a difficulty, but there's
Yeah.
a time where we all reach. And
Yeah.
now it's no longer if you speak,
Yeah.
it's no longer if you have grades.
Yeah.
Because now some of the richest people in the world are not even educated. So then
Yeah.
you education, how important is it? If the richest, you know, so yeah, you take these things, you know, like understand them, but don't stay too much on them. Time and chance happens to them all. There are kids who get A's and be a clever and all these things, and
Yeah.
then they reach maturity and they can't even keep a job,
Exactly.
you know. So don't think it
Straight
is,
A student, but they can't keep a job.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yet there is one, maybe they're struggling one or two, but they can keep a job, they are married, and they are good fathers, they're good parents, you
Yeah.
know, they're good citizens of the world.
Indeed. Wow. This is good. Thank you for that. And I want to turn it back to you a bit.
Yeah.
So, on the days when the weight felt incredibly heavy, think back on those years, those days, those months. What is it that inspired you to keep going?
God.
Wow.
God. I knew what God had said. He
Yeah.
loves me, his plans are good. There is a place and a portion for me and my son on this earth. In fact, he even says that if all bad things come to you, just know it is not me who has done it.
Oh, yes.
Then the problem is that sometimes we come to a point where, like, if all evil is happening in the world, where is God? I don't want to go in that discussion, but it
Yeah.
is not Him. If you know Him for yourself, you
Yeah.
know, if you prove Him and prove Him and prove Him, He is faithful. You know, I knew He would do it. And sometimes even these things were building character in me.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, even as much as it's Nathaniel's story, it is more my story because it is me who lived it. For him, he reached a point where he's enjoying the fruit of it, but it was me who was crushed,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So just to know that indeed I can do it, just have a small thing. As I say, for me, it was more if I can finish my school. And I finished. But only they were not able to finish. You finish among the first 10. You finish it within the same time. There was a time where, COVID time,
Yeah.
kids were falling off, saying, I cannot do it anymore. I
Yeah.
never stopped. I
Yeah.
finished everything. Where did that strength come from? I remember sometimes you go on an appointment before you went to school, and they will tell you, yeah, they tell you all the negative things, and then you just be like, the joy of the Lord is my strength. It is okay. You move on and you
Wow.
go on. And indeed, you see that indeed it is working. But then
Um,
also, family.
family.
Family is important. My family is very supportive. You know, we help each other. Everyone would babysit. Everyone would be with everyone. There is no, you know, we are not the people that even see ourselves differently. We're not
Actually,
trying.
that was my next question
Yeah,
about what did you do as far as that was concerned? Because they say it takes a village to raise a child, and
yeah.
it's not different from a neurodivergent child. But how did you go about creating that supportive community around yourself here in the Netherlands? You
Family,
mentioned family.
family, family,
Yeah. And
family.
he's a really wonderful child.
It is family. They babysit, they keep. I remember there was a time where I have an exam. You tell your mom, I'm bringing him, he will keep. The next day, my brother is keeping. The next day is my auntie. Sometimes
Yeah.
my sister will come from her house and then be with the boy in my house, you know. Family, just being there, and we just seeing Nathaniel as Nathaniel, you know, and that is a beautiful thing. Because I think it comes back even from upbringing. That is how we were raised, you know. For we are not in competition with each other. We just support each other in everyone's dream, you
And
know.
then,
And then there are also good friends who will pray with you, who will
yeah.
also help with babysitting when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
giving yourself advices, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed, you're only giving positive. You can do it. That is it, you know. But then at the end of the day, I realized that even as much as you can have all these things around you, there is
Yeah.
also a part of you as a person.
Yeah.
How do you think and how
Yeah.
do you see life? For me, I am so solution oriented and
Yeah.
I am not a quitter. My spirit is so strong that when
Yeah.
they say I cannot make it, it's like you're
You're
telling
a
me
fighter.
when you tell me I can't make it, at least
Yeah.
tell me I will make it. Then I'll be like, why are you saying I'm going to make it? Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you say I can't, it's like you're not trying to make me make
Let
it.
me show you. Let me show
Yes,
you.
but I have yes. So
Yeah.
I am yes, I'm so zealous as like no, and it gave me joy in the things I was able to do. Going
Yeah.
back from the beginning, that I have a love hate with Holland.
Yeah.
The fact that I was able to do all the things I did, indeed, it comes back to being in Holland. The
Yeah.
systems where the opportunities you're able to take the kid here to daycare, you know, all the help, you know, to press, you know. Yes,
Yeah.
and it's indeed sometimes to have people around you who are sympathizing, but also uh, have a balance in the sympathy.
Indeed.
Yes, have a balance in the sympathy. Not take it, but not take it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much. Sarah K says, I think another thing why our kids are behind in speech is because they don't meet and play with other like kids, uh, others like other kids like back home. They stay indoors, seeing their parents only, and we should really do something for them. I
Yeah.
totally agree, and we are trying. I mean, the weather is getting better, so we are going to try to be more intentional with doing activities, and I think even the community calendars. The season is starting. There's football going on every Saturday. There's training in Amsterdam. The weather is nice. Next weekend, there's a trip to Germany, to Cologne, and all these little engagements. It could be something that starts the conversation of just being out there uh, to do something. Shamim says, "So proud of you, Summer. The warrior spirit is in the blood."
Thank
Amazing,
you.
amazing, amazing. I love this. And if a mother is watching us and right now they're sitting in their car or they're sitting on their kitchen floor and they're feeling completely overwhelmed by a recent diagnosis, they're worried about the delays that they're seeing or the suspicions about their child, what is your ultimate message of encouragement to her?
First of all, I do acknowledge that it is difficult. It's not an easy thing. And it's
Yeah,
also a thing that you have to be in it to understand it. You know, you can sympathize from outside, but it's different to
yeah,
sympathize when you understand the thing, you know. It's not an
yeah,
easy thing, I'm telling you. Because even me, there were days where I would cry, but the thing is I still move, I still lifted myself up. So
yeah,
yes, as I said earlier on, indeed, take the pain,
yeah,
take the tears, cry it out because you also don't want to neglect that the obvious,
yeah,
you know. But once you've done all that, find your center of anchor. For
yeah,
some, it may be God.
yeah,
Ask the questions and say, how can I help this and this and this? The answers will always be. Secondly, find mothers, parents, or look for content or people who have made it. Have
yeah.
some positive stories. There is a story of who's that?
Winston
Winston.
Churchill. Yeah,
Yeah, he was also he led this speech, you know,
yeah,
and then he went to school, and then the teachers are like, yeah, we can't teach your kid, it's difficult to teach, and then the mother said, no, it is you people who have the problem, I will teach my kid. The
he
mother
was
took,
homeschooled. Yeah,
yes, and
and
it
then,
took him out of the school, and the kid and the mother told the child, and this is the person who later on helps win the war, you know. So you say that you also have to refuse certain things, refuse it, just say no, you know, just refuse what refuse anything that does not bring out the joy in your life, because we as human beings, we deep down inside, even if we don't say it openly, we want more.
yeah,
I believe more for your child. And there are people who are doing more. There are curriculums which are good. Get those stories, get those things, but also take things one step at a time, you know. But then also leave room for God to be God.
yeah,
Leave room for the surprises.
yeah.
You know, leave room. Don't control everything. Just leave room for God to perform and surprise you. When my mom told me that Nathaniel was fixing her computer, I was like, really? You
Yeah.
know, I didn't even think, you know, like God is just surprising you. Oh, when he began eating the pasta, I was like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
oh, we take him to school. When he goes to school, and I tell him he has done. I'm like, really, you know. So
Yeah.
leave room for God to perform. As I say, time and chance indeed happens to them all. You know, don't
Indeed.
think that you have everything in control. You know,
Yeah.
things do get better and
Oh
things
yes.
do change.
Oh yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's we're coming up to actually 90 minutes, which is about a good portion of time. I can't believe we've already been on for that long, but I want to acknowledge you once again for your journey of faith, for your hard work, for your persistence, for your perseverance, for your determination, and for your willingness to be able to be available to have a conversation like this. You may not realize how much it helps someone out there, because there are many people who are suffering in silence. There are people who have, like, they're dealing with things and they don't even know what to do. But your willingness to share your truth and the journey that you have been on, I don't take that lightly. And on behalf of the Career Advancement Network and the Ugandan community in the Netherlands, I want to say thank you to you for your willingness, your openness. It was a very useful conversation. Even for me, I found it very inspiring and very insightful.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And so, if somebody is watching us and they would like to connect with you, maybe to follow up on this conversation, is there a way that you prefer to be contacted? Uh,
Before that, I wanted also to give a few tips,
yes.
a few useful things for people, mostly here in the Netherlands. So there are benefits that a child that is not in a normal school does get, and you can apply for different kind of benefits. There is also good curriculums. That one is, yeah, it's difficult here, but they do exist. Good, very good curriculum that do take face-to-face education. There are also good reading materials, but then there's also assistance when you're traveling at the airport. You know, you can get the code, and then you don't, because some kids are really scared with noise. You know, you can buy them some earphones to ease the outside noise. You know, you can get a code. Then when you're at the airport, you and your child are just taken to the door of the airport. You know, so
Yeah.
use all these different benefits. Again, even though you don't want to take in the diagnosis, there are still benefits which can still benefit you and make your life easy and easier.
Yeah. And
Lastly, yeah. And lastly, I am. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, my socials. I'm also a member of CAN, so we do have a WhatsApp group. You can also join it there because we also
yeah.
have good therapists which are there, which can really speak to you. You can also join that platform and learn so many other things. And where else? Yeah, I think that's it.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so very much. And Shamim says Jason Addy is the youngest black lecturer in Oxford University. He's autistic. He didn't speak until he was 11 years old, and he learned to read at 18. And his mother was the power behind it. Wow, this is good. Thank you for sharing that. And the Slay Jaja says recognizing and celebrating these differences will allow parents to tailor their support and nurture its child's uniqueness. Nice conversation, Summer. Mad love to you, to both of you. Nati Slay Jaja Diva. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Uh, and just for to bring this in for a landing, are there, you mentioned some specific resource. Are there some specific resources that you could, or organizations that you could recommend? Hi, Nati.
Yeah,
Was that Binacla?
yeah. Yes.
What's the mama? It's the
Yeah. So it depends, you know, when a kid is from zero, no, from 3 to 6, there's some good places where they are really with kids which speak or which in the same age. That is Cadice, the Scout, the Harvard. Those are really now really, they're not schools, but they are places where they treat kids as though they would go to school,
yeah,
you know. And then there are also now when it becomes 6, I encourage every parent when the kid is 6, and now you can use the advantage of my kid is leerplichtig. They can go
yeah,
to school. Then you can look for you ask somebody to come and assess your child. Unfortunately, in Holland it's like that. It's not like in Uganda where you could go. In Uganda they have good curriculums like the SCA curriculum. It's a very good curriculum to take your child to if you're in Uganda. But here you need someone to come and observe your child. So when they do come, when they are age of 6, they are little plictac, maybe they're doing many things, you've trained them well, then they
yeah,
could go to a special undervised or special basis undervised, you know. And then you as a parent, you also have the right to choose which one. And and depending on what you want to say, I encourage parents to engage well with these people. Like, even though, as I said, you know your child, but try to also bring them in because they're also experts.
yeah.
Speak to them good, have some good conversation so that they can at least also favor you by saying, oh yes, their kid can go to these certain places.
Oh yes. Wow, this is good. Thank you so much, Samantha, for this. It was very inspiring, very insightful, and very encouraging. And I want to say thank you to our viewers. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for your comments. Uh, there's been a lot of engagement. So Shamib says, I loved every bit of this. Thank you guys for organizing the discussion. Edward Santongo says, thank you so much. And we don't take this for granted. So thank you so very much, each and everyone who took off that afternoon to be able to join this conversation. We are at 96 minutes. It's been quite engaging. I'm surprised. Where did that time go?
Yes.
It's but thank you so very much, and we'll pack it here. Thank you for your attention. Have a good afternoon. Take care of yourself. The warm weather is here. Keep hydrating. Take care of your loved ones, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you very much.